Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. We really appreciate you. We hope you are staying nice and dry on this. I don't know. I've lost count of the number of stormy days we've had, Kim McAllister, but it's been a lot. I have some pictures and some video that have been going viral overnight. But first, let's click that thumbs up, people, for the Nikki Medoro Show. It really, really helps us out. I received a very interesting email, Kim McAllister, and it kind of fits in with this opening that we often do because, we always urge people they could donate during even if you're watching this as a recording, which all of you are, the super chat is live. We can do that. People donate money during the show. Of course, the PayPal is the NikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. And then, of course, Kim, we urge people to become monthly Patreon subscribers. Okay.
Yes.
So I got this email yesterday, and I want you to tell me what you think. And you guys let me know in the live chat, and I'll go over these comments because I thought I was doing something nice, and I kind of felt like this was a good idea, right? We want to give people that are monthly Patreon subscribers a little extra love, right? A little something extra. And so I posted a few videos. It's like 3 videos, right? I've done like 3 videos. And it's, and I want to do more things for my Patreon subscribers. I want to give them a little bit more than what everybody gets during the YouTube shows. And I got this email, okay? And this is what it said. It says, Nikki, in my humble opinion, it is unfair to have separate benefits for only Patreon donors. Not everyone can or wants to donate in that manner. How about being fair to all of those who subscribe to your YouTube channel? I don't know. I haven't responded. I get exactly what this viewer is saying. I appreciate her. I hope that she continues listening and viewing and watching. But she has a point. I mean, not everybody likes Patreon, wants to kind of, subscribe to something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
We like the Patreon because it's consistent. It's money that we know we're going to get that month at least. It might change in the future, but at least that month we can kind of budget on it, which, right now this is the only money that we're really bringing in. So what do you think, Kim? I mean, am I being... That's a hard one. I'm kind of feeling like this is what I was leaning towards. And you guys tell me in the chat. You can email me back, whatever. This is what I was thinking. Patreon subscribers will get, they get first dibs at the merchandise, but then it's opened up to everybody. So maybe my videos will be on the Patreon site for a certain amount of time before then I open it up to everybody. And maybe I post them on my social media.
I mean, it's kind of a, you want to have everyone participate and everyone that wants to be here. You want to celebrate that because we're so grateful that you followed us over from KGO or Station X, or that you just found us or whatever it may be. So we don't, we want to welcome and be like, oh, thank you for coming. But also if you're supporting, we want to be, give you some a little extra and say,
let's kind of something, what I mean?
I kind of get it both ways, but I know not everyone has the extra cash kicking around to be able to support us financially, which is fine. I mean, we're grateful you're here regardless, honestly.
Absolutely.
So I get it both ways, but I think that's a good way to do it. Have it come out first for, a few weeks for the Patreon subscribers and then open it up to all. So if people want to go back and search, they can find it.
Right. So you guys, if you're Patreon subscribers, what do you think about that? Does that seem fair? But again, I do want to give people that have committed every month something. And so what else would you like? I mean, I've just been doing fun, cute little videos, things that maybe tie into Friday food segments, which are very popular. I mean, every time we do a Friday food segment, you guys blow it up in the comments that you love these food segments.
I found there's a new thing. I don't like really fast food a lot. And fast food meat kind of freaks me out.
Right.
But I do like my daily unsweetened iced tea from Wendy's.
Right. Yes. That is your favorite.
There I was in line getting my daily unsweetened iced tea. And they have this new thing at Wendy's. It's called it's a chicken mozzarella marinara sandwich. It has a better name than that, but it's marinara, kind of a fried mozzarella.
It's like chicken parmesan between a bun.
Yeah. But but the mozzarella piece is almost like a fried mozzarella stick, but in a larger, looks like like the size of a McDonald's hash brown, that kind of bit. It's bigger.
Oh, that sounds
Okay.
delicious. And it's breaded and fried. Is that what you just said?
And it's breaded and fried along with the chicken, which is also breaded and fried. So I thought,
are we getting this for Friday food?
I thought, let me get this. I said to the guy through the speaker, I said, hey, what do you think? How do you think it would be if I ordered the mozzarella chicken sandwich without the chicken? Now I know that sounds weird, but he goes, hey, I think that actually might taste really good. Ooh. So I was like, okay. So I ordered it and it was great. So now if like we're traveling and I need to have something, I can have a sandwich without
so it's just a
chicken.
Cheese. Okay, so describe it. So it's bun. Is it lettuce and tomato and stuff, or just?
It's ciabatta bun.
Okay.
Mozzarella sauce, thick mozzarella sauce, and a breaded marinara sauce with a breaded fried mozzarella patty.
It's like a
flat, stringy, cheesy.
Yeah, mozzarella stick, but in a square. Yeah.
Okay, I could do that.
Ooh. Yeah,
no
we
meat,
might have to get
no
like
weird, funky fast food meat involved.
I mean, I would take the chicken with it because I have no problem with fast food meat.
See?
But that sounds bomb. We might have our Friday food segment.
I think we do.
I think I'll have to debate whether or not I want to get it with chicken or without, because you're kind of selling it without the meat, man. You're really selling it.
I mean, I'm sure with the meat, if you eat fast food meat, then you have no problem with that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't want fast
you don't do
food
that
meat. And so usually, like if we're traveling or something, and everyone wants to stop somewhere, all I ever get is French fries and an iced tea. Or something.
Now you could get fried cheese between a ciabatta.
Right. Now I can add fried
there
cheese.
There you go. All right.
Fast food repertoire.
I'm sensing a Friday food segment right here. So, all right.
Other ways to have a heart attack.
All right. Well, let's welcome our good friend right now, our tax attorney, Steve Moskowitz, our exclusive founding sponsor. Steve, thank you so much for joining us. And
my pleasure, guys.
Every time I have you on, I'm always thinking to myself, what do I need to do to get into Steve Moskowitz's good graces? I need to get my papers together. I need to organize
Nikki,
my finances.
Got into my good graces when you were doing the show with Chip.
Oh, I love you so much. Thank you. Over at Station X. But I think people feel overwhelmed, Steve. I mean, I'm just speaking as the average Jane, looking at my totally unorganized financial folders.
Oh, you mean you're like everybody else?
Yeah. Am I like everybody else, Steve? Yeah. Am I? Okay.
See, here's one of the things. I'd like to think I'm easy to talk to. And, my background really helps. It's, I wasn't some silver spoon, blue blood boy that went to Harvard and daddy paid for everything. You talk about a New York City taxi cab driver. I'm a really simple guy. And you know what? Most people are disorganized. And you know what? The government has, all kinds of situations. They're not perfect either. So basically, what I was, and I guess it goes back to when I was a cabbie, because when I was a cabbie, I'd be talking to my passengers. And now I'm still talking to people, but instead of, I can get you to Madison Square Garden, and this time it's, I can get you to ERC and something.
That works for me. But
the thing is, what I'd like people to do is, I'm just a simple guy. And you know what? Most people are disorganized. And if you were perfect, that's just not real life. That's just not real life. It's like, but that's okay. You can talk about anything. And I promise I will never say so.
Right. I doubt there's anything that really surprises you anymore in the financial world.
Here comes another idiot. That's not what you say.
I can't imagine that.
Basically, see, that's why I tell people that I was a cabbie first, because I want to put people at ease. It's sort of like, if you think about it, it's like going to a doctor. A lot of times people are embarrassed to tell the doctor what really happened. Now, you know what? The doctor is there to help you and treat you. And he or she is not concerned with your morality or anything else, how you got that particular disease. That doctor is there.
How you got that up there or out of there or something. Yeah, I get it.
That doctor is there to help you. But if you don't tell the doctor everything, that's going to hurt your treatment.
Right.
Or if you're too embarrassed to go to the doctor until somebody carries you in, then, you're going to need a lot more treatment, or you might die. So it's a basic thing is, you just talk to me. And, I hate guys that use fancy words to show you how smart they are. You've known me long enough. I don't do that. We talk in simple terms, just like I'd want to be with a doctor. don't use medical words on me that I don't know. And just, tell me like, well, okay, is that good or bad that I was bleeding from there? And then we go from there. So it's like,
I don't think it's
that's
good.
what
It
I would
doesn't
say.
sound good.
Just talk to me. And you know what? At this point in my career, there's a very good chance that I've probably dealt with whatever you're going to tell me
Right.
so many times. And people, for example, here's something a very common case is people don't file tax returns for years. Very, very common. I've done that my whole career. But you'd be amazed how many people will start off with, so Steve, have you ever done a case like this before? And I say, yes, literally thousands and thousands and thousands. It has been 30 plus years. And people think they're all alone. You're not.
Right.
And basically, most of the stuff we do is basically doing the same few cases over and over and over again. And part of what you want is experience. It's like, if, God forbid, I ever need surgery, I want a surgeon that says, oh, ho-hum, one of those. Yeah, I do that operation all day long. And, sometimes there's an oddball organ out of place or something. But if that happens, if your heart instead of here is over here, I know what to do. That happens sometimes. And, that's what experience is you've dealt with this stuff before. So I don't have to Google how to do this or that. And also, I can talk to the clients and say, well, look, in the past, here's what's happened. Because people, and it's like a medical problem. People come in and they're really scared. And, oh my God, what's going to happen here? And basically we just tell them, well, look, in a case like yours, and we go on with them. And but again, if nothing else, I want people to just feel comfortable. They can talk to me about anything. And you know what? I promise no lectures. I'm not a professor anymore. And just, I won't be shocked by what you tell me. Chances are I've handled it a lot of times. I just want to help you. It's just like a medical doctor. He or she just wants to help you. That's all they want to do.
Exactly.
And you know what? It's like a medical doctor. You might say, oh, I have this horrible, gushing, oozing, terrible thing coming out of my body. And the doctor says, okay, well.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Take off your clothes and let me take a look at it. Oh, you have a so-and-so. And then he starts cleaning it up and fixing it. That's not so bad. Just, take these pills. I cleaned up the wound. And, that's time. And what a difference. And you say, okay, good. I got rid of that thing now. I don't have to hide it. And I can deal with it.
Yeah.
You had said earlier that the best thing to do is to call and give more time than to wait till the end. And I remember the day you said that, in the chat, all these people were like, I don't have my receipts ready. I won't have my tax forms, from my employer. Like, I won't have all the documents and the information that I need for him.
There's different aspects to it. It's not, okay, you get one time and that's it.
You can come back.
It's not like that. Or, in the old days, you used to mail things. Now it's, you upload it through the portal. But don't worry, if you're not high tech, you can still mail us stuff. It's okay.
Perfect.
But the thing is, it's sort of like the chatting. Like a lot of times people call and say, so what should I bring to the interview? And I say, well, wait a minute. Before you go and you spend a bunch of time and you get me stuff that I don't need, and you don't get me what I do need, let's just chat first. Let's see what we need. And then we go from there. And, some guidance, just like, so many other things in life. It's basically, I'm old school in that way, where it's just, let's just chat first. And chances are I can say, okay, get this and this and this. And there's a lot of solutions. Like suppose somebody says, oh, you know what? I lost all my W-2s. Oh no, what do I do? Well, we'll get the W-2s from the IRS for you. So something that somebody was worried about. Oh, and you know what? All my 1099s from the bank for the mortgage and the interest income and my other stuff, IRS has all that. We get that. And, sometimes something that somebody was really, really worried about, it's like, oh, well, that's simple. Again, that's what experience is. We know when something really is serious and a problem and delicate, and we know it's just a ho-hum, run-of-the-mill. Oh, yeah, we'll get those documents from the IRS for you.
I don't think I think the most comforting thing I heard you say though, and what would give me comfort is if you did tell me, oh, we've seen it all the time. Because I think everyone has that mentality of this is something that's just so terrible, so horrific. And an expert like yourself, Steve, is like, I've seen it before. I've been doing this for years. You're not that special. I could take care of it for you.
Yeah, something you've been worried
just like
about,
a
right?
medical doctor. You don't want them to say, "Oh, that's really interesting. I'll talk to my colleagues," and
Opening up the book, they're like, I've never seen
open up
anything
the
like
book.
this.
Let's Google, heart on shoulder and see what happens.
Uh,
And instead, you want to say, "Oh yeah, I've dealt with that all the time." And chances are there's a lot of things that you think are horrific, and maybe they're not that bad.
yeah.
So, I talk about sleeping the sleep of the innocent, but I mean it because, so many cases people worry about things and do what I call the crazies, and they don't have to.
Yeah, they don't have
And
to.
it's kind of like, if I were a medical doctor, there's some common conditions that can easily be fixed by some medication. But if you're living out someplace and you didn't know that exists, you say, well, gee, you just suffer for a while and then you die. Well, no.
You don't have to. You don't have to. Steve is like a doctor, a therapist, but he's really the tax attorney, but he can do it all. And so can his company, HR, accounting, taxes, ERC. Give him a call. Get that weight off your back. Sleep well at night.
Don't wait to be fireman's carried into Moskowitz's
exactly,
office, right?
Exactly. AAA Tax Deal Moskowitz LLP.com. That is 888 Tax Deal or MOSKOWITZ LLP.com. Steve, I appreciate you. I thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. I appreciate you guys too. Thanks so much.
Bye, Steve.
Bye.
Yeah. I love that guy. I swear to God.
Know,
I
me
mean,
too.
talk about an easy guy to talk to. All right. So give him a call. We love him. He supports the show, and he's going to definitely get you on the right side of your taxes if you give him a call. Okay. Let's get on the right side of this storm. So what are they saying, Kim? They're saying not until the 20th something or the 20 something of January is this rain going to stop. Yep. Can I show you this one video I saw? Hold on.
Okay, I have some videos for you too.
Okay, so good. So this is from Kevin McCarthy.
Okay.
His handle is US Stormwatch. So he's like one of these like weather nuts, okay? And this is just one of the satellite videos. But I liked it because it has, if you look closely, you can see the thunderstorms, but also like he's saying tornadoes. Look at that.
Look at the lightning.
Yeah. The lightning is what I meant to say. Yeah. The lightning. Look at all of that. I mean, this is going to be crazy. So he wrote a complex of strong thunderstorms behind the main atmospheric river will make landfall along the coast last night, bringing torrential downpours, damaging winds, and even isolated tornadoes.
I am telling you, Mother Nature is not happy.
No, I mean, it's again, we were talking about this yesterday. Yes, we need rain. We don't all need it right now. It's not like we need the whole season's rain, but we're getting it, and it's insane. People in, what is it, Montecito was
that's where Oprah and Ellen live, by the way, near Santa Barbara.
Okay, good, because I was seeing some people posted that I follow on social media, like podcasters and semi-celebrities, and they're like evacuating, and I was like, do you live in Northern California? I thought you were LA. And that makes sense.
They call it Central California. I think I when I think of Central California, I think of maybe Monterey, San Luis Obispo, but Santa Barbara's included in there, even though I think it's more southward. But Montecito's right near Santa Barbara, and they're being told to get out. They've had mudslides in the past, and now this is very serious. As a matter of fact, they had something horrible happen there where, we've been talking about how trying to drive through flooded water can be a real problem. And the CHP has had to rescue driver after driver in the Bay Area, pulling people out of cars in the middle of flooded intersections and such. I think I read that California Office of Emergency Services said a regular, like a small vehicle, can be picked up and carried, and that means turned over in 12 inches of water.
Oh yeah.
A larger vehicle, it's like a truck or a larger SUV, would be 18 to 24 inches. So this horrible thing happened in Santa Barbara, or rather Montecito, where this truck got stranded.
Okay.
And in this particular case, there was a little boy in the truck along with a parent.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, and so I'm
Did they
trying to find this.
survive? Did something bad?
No,
Oh, they didn't
mm-mm.
survive?
I don't know if I have to read. I have to go back and read it, but I'm not sure if the parents survived, but they called off the search for the little boy.
Oh no, that is
Yeah,
awful, awful, awful. I mean, you have to remember that like water that is flowing that quickly can knock you off your feet like that. So I can only imagine, and I'm not saying that it happened there, but if you try to get out of the truck because all of a sudden the truck is floating away, if the truck's floating away,
yeah.
your butt is floating away as well.
So
And it's
here's the
insane.
story.
Okay.
He is or was. We'll hope they find him, and
Oh,
a miracle. But he is a 5-year-old boy who was swept away by floodwaters. Um, the
and this is in
search.
Montecito.
This is a Montecito. The boy has not been declared dead, but the search was called off 3 p.m. Monday because the current and rising water levels of the Salinas River
Oh,
were too
baby.
dangerous for divers, and that according to a spokesperson from the San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Office.
Oh, how
The boy's
awful.
mother was driving a white truck when it became stranded in floodwaters just before 8 o'clock on Monday morning. Uh, Near Paso Robles, so not Montecito. My apologies. It's near Paso Robles,
Okay.
and bystanders were able to pull her out of the truck. So it does look like she was able to survive it, but the boy was carried out of the vehicle and swept downstream.
Oh, baby. Oh, that's
At that
awful. That's
point, there was no evacuation order in the area. It looks like now there is. A firefighter discovered one of the boy's shoes, but hours later, crews still had not found the little boy, and
oh
that was five
God.
hours after the shoe was found. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
not looking oh, my heart goes out to them. I mean,
So
again, it's just devastating.
Montecito, there were like here in the Bay Area, in the Santa Cruz Mountains and in the North Bay, huge wildfires there. And so they have
Yeah,
major
burn
burn
scars.
scars and
Yeah.
mudslides there. And so this is, let's see, fifth anniversary of a mudslide that killed 23 people and destroyed more than 100 coastal homes. So they take no chances. They just say, get
No.
out. Your guys like gotta leave.
Well, I want
Yeah.
to show you this video. This is from Cal Fire. Remember the CZU fire?
Hmm.
Now this is the Cal Fire. CZU is posting these videos. Do you see this? Look at all that water.
Where's this front? Where is this? Is this Santa Cruz Mountains or where?
Yeah. Pescadero
Oh,
area.
that's peninsula, like near Half Moon Bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all the flooding there. Then they also posted this one. I'm not quite
Oh,
sure what underpass. I don't know what this is, but look at the home in the back. I mean,
oh
look at that.
man.
Look at that. And then there's one more video I think they had. I mean, just to show the flooding and all the devastation.
Whew.
It's just, and then we've been seeing this video, and I'm sure you've seen this video, Kim. Hold on, let me share it because this has been making the rounds
Is this the
all last
wave that
night.
crashes over the?
No, this is the
Oh.
tree. Did you see the tree? Hold on, here we go. Look at that tree. Look at it slide. I'm going to lower it because the guys start cussing in the background about it. But let me play that again for you. Look at that tree just slide down the hill. And that's, and now they got to
That's
clear
it.
that out of the roadway. I mean, think
Mhm.
about that. I mean,
Oh,
that
man.
is was it? I think that was, no, where was that? Highway 17 at Glenwood.
Yeah. And they
That's
had problems
crazy.
all yesterday or all Monday with problems on Highway 17, massive
Yeah.
mudslides. Highway
Mhm.
1 at San Lorenzo, they had to shut it down because of all the wood and debris that had fallen into the water and was clogging everything up. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, I mean, speaking of debris, now again, I understand that the city of San Francisco is very old. It's an old city. I get
Yeah.
this. But were you reading about the sewer systems? So, the city is once again, their antiquated sewer system is on full display during this storm. So, they have that adopt a sewer program where community members can kind of adopt a drain.
Oh, yeah,
So SF Gate had some of the names that people give their drains, like
yeah. That's
Lana
awesome.
Del Drain, Drain Mon Green, things like that, right? So it's got to be cutesy. But apparently, according to SF Gate, the sewer system in San Francisco is unique because it combines raw sewage and stormwater runoff into a single system. So the Utilities Commission that operates it says it's a greener option because most stormwater goes through the sewage treatment facility rather than being discharged directly into the bay. But what does that mean? Anytime you have a filter on something, that's what I think of. It's like a Brita, right? The water's not just going to pour out quickly. It's going to go slowly because it's going through that system. So it has system-wide backups, bottlenecks. And then what happens is the sewage then overflows. They quote one person, a San Francisco resident, succinctly described their neighborhood's stench after witnessing massive flooding back in 2015. Feces. It's feces.
Gross. Somebody named their drain the Mohammed Nuru Memorial Sewer.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
So one resident will go out, adopt a drain in their neighborhood and keep it clear of debris so that water can keep flowing down and the streets don't get flooded.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this was an older article that I was reading. This is from 2019, but they said nearly 3,800 drains throughout the city have been adopted by 2,500 people, but it's just a fraction of the number of obvious drains around there. And anybody that's tried to clear any sort of drain when it's already flooded knows how difficult it is to, one, find the source and then fight against all that water to clear it as a person that doesn't have, the machinery to suction it all out and everything like that. It's gross.
So I was talking to someone who lives in San Francisco about that. And I thought how cool that people are taking it upon themselves to adopt a drain in their neighborhood and help keep it clear. And he goes, yeah, unless you start thinking about it as they're getting free work out of us. We pay taxes. Why can't the Public Works Department do what it's supposed to do and keep things clear?
Yeah, I mean, there is always that argument. It's like, why am I paying my taxes if this is still in disarray? Because you're still living in it. So either you can help and bitch about the taxes and be like, you should spend the money better, but still help, because you're going to either that or feces. It's feces. So what do you want to do? Do you want to stand in feces and bitch about the taxes, or do you want to help out and bitch about the taxes? Away. You know what I mean? So it's one has feces and one doesn't. I choose the non-feces one.
Try to play this for you. I don't know if you can see this, but since we're talking about, so this is from ABC 7 News. Obviously, it says on the bottom.
Right.
Oh, it's gonna just spin and spin and think and
okay.
think.
Just
but you can see at least the picture. This is Gilroy.
Oh yeah.
Where look at the waters that rose and homes are inundated at least halfway up. They've got all the water. I don't know if we can turn the video down.
Do you know what this street? This has to be by 152 or
152. And 152. There was some huge flooding problems this morning along Highway 152. It had to be shut down for a time. You can see the flooding there.
I know people that live that way. I know Lover's Lane and all those places down there. Wow. I mean, look at those cars. Oh my goodness.
You can find the footage at abc7news.com, but
and there's a car driving through the water, which is what you are not supposed to do. Don't drown. Turn around. I mean, it's not worth it. It's the best excuse. Like, sorry, I can't make it into work. The road's flooded. I mean, come on now.
I wanted to show you that. But while I'm on the website, that wasn't the only video. See if I can't bring another one up. That might be taking too long. But there were some more videos that they had regarding Felton being underwater. And Felton is kind of it's in the Santa Cruz Mountains after you pass Scotts Valley, but kind of before Santa Cruz. And this is drone video that they have posted on ABC 7 talking about flooding, mudslides, and evacuations. And I know a lot of people who had to leave their house today or their homes because, neighborhoods were being cut off from these things. So let's see if we can't get to the video. I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go.
City of Felton, a whole different story. They're seeing the second highest markings that the San Lorenzo River has ever hit. It's dating back to 1937. So this is definitely a serious situation. And the roads to that area, this is why we're here. The roads to that area is almost completely closed. I just spoke with someone that was supposed to be working down there actually, and he tells us that even if you see that some roads may be open according to Google or Apple Maps, he does not suggest it. When it's wet like this, mudslides, trees are falling. It's not what you want to, be really dealing with in a time like this. We're going to take you to some video that we
that's really good advice
today.
Yeah.
From the city
and then there it is. Look at that.
You could just see it. the city is completely underwater at this point. It's really tough
Oh my God, the
to see and to
devastation.
you know, live through for a lot of these residents. I just got off the phone with one of them. I had a quick Zoom interview with someone living in the area, and she said this is about as comparable and bad as she's ever seen it. Back to 1982 is one of their worst storms. It was challenging, really similar like this. You know, we've already talked about how high this river has gotten, 24.52 feet you know, deep there at that point. And we've also gotten some drone video since the last time we spoke. So we're going to go ahead and roll that. You could just see these homes are completely surrounded by water. It's a really dangerous situation for the folks living down there. Evacuation orders are underway.
Yeah.
And, you know, county Caltrans officials telling everybody to, you know, if you haven't gotten out at this point, you reach out to them. But hopefully you were able to get out of that area if you live in that area, and hopefully you're not planning on going down there, because anytime soon Highway 17 is closed to a major slide, the southbound lanes. It's just a really difficult situation right now, as we understood, you know, the storm was going to be a strong one, and this is the effects that we're seeing in the aftermath. We're going to have much more on this tonight.
Yeah. Our thanks to ABC7 and Dustin Dorsey. I love ABC7. They always have the best information.
Oh, of course. They do. And I mean, can you imagine if you're like, you're here for a couple of days and you want to go back home to Santa Cruz and you can't? I mean, it's insane what's going on. And every time I see those homes that are underwater, I would love to live in that area. You know what I mean? I mean, it's gorgeous out there. I mean, the trees and it's a beautiful, beautiful area, but it brings with it this risk. And even here in San Jose,
wildfire and flooding and trees falling. It's like,
it's
oh
just
man,
like, how much more can you throw? But here in San Jose, you know, earlier yesterday, I was hearing about how Guadalupe River and all that whole area was flooding. And there are parts of San Jose that are just kind of below that water line, and these homes are going to flood. And that's why, you know, not that the flood maps don't change, but that is something you need to keep in mind. You know, if you're a renter or you're just buying a house, you know, it's $2 million house. Yeah. But did you check
what's
how
going to happen
the
to
flood
it?
was? Yeah.
So
exactly.
that we were just in Felton with ABC7. Now we're down the road on the beach, near the beach in Aptos.
Okay.
And
wow. Look at that.
So there's some flooding going here. You can see this house is having some issues with water, and the, you know, water's almost up to the guy's knees. So
Jeez,
there's some
he's
trouble.
ready though.
And this is Montecito.
Yeah.
You know,
The logs and everything.
Water, how it looks in Montecito rising, and mudslides and everything else. So
oh my God. You know, and I also see that, Kim, it also, and I'm sure that you've thought about it as well, the people that have nowhere to sleep and are dealing with this as well. I mean, the homeless encampments. I was reading that article about how San Francisco over Christmas and New Year's doing homeless sweeps. You know, the judge just, did you see that? The judge temporarily has barred Oakland from clearing that Wood Street encampment because there's nowhere for the people to go. Now, it's a very interesting debate when we are talking about homeless encampments and sweeps.
Yeah.
I know as far as the city of San Francisco, they were pushing back because they're saying, look, these people are being offered something and they don't want to go. That doesn't mean they're involuntarily homeless. They just don't want to go where we have a bed for them. So is that our problem? Is that their problem? And, you know, that's up for debate. But, you know, what is it? Roughly 55 people are the last holdouts at that Wood Street encampment. It was up to like 300 people, though. But yeah, they only have a little more than 24 shelter beds available. That is not enough to house all the different people. And my heart goes out to those that can't, you know, on one hand, I want there to be a shelter, but you have to factor in, you know, obviously mental health, pets, children, men separated from women, all of those sorts of things. But when it's flooding and there's a monsoon amount of rain coming down, get them inside at the very least. Just get people inside.
This picture we're looking at is courtesy of the Santa Rosa Press Democrat. And it shows, you know, you can see all the debris around this trailer. So I'm assuming the person lives in the trailer or in the RV. They have closed down 2 parks, some of which where people park that are homeless. And so they're closing them down because it's not safe to be there. But I will say that the other day, couple days ago, I was driving through a parking garage, dropping someone off in Petaluma, and there aren't normally homeless people sleeping in the parking garage, but people had set up their sleeping bags and their
Oh, wow.
stuff and their
Right.
shopping carts. They would pick a spot that was their parking spot, and they
Oh,
would
wow.
set up their little homeless area there. And I thought, I don't even begrudge you. It is pouring
No.
outside. If this is
Yes.
the only place you had that would keep you out of the rain so you could keep dry and keep your stuff dry,
Yeah.
I understand. I gotcha.
Absolutely. I don't know how
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine anybody that has a heart beating in their chest is gonna look at people when it's downpouring and like, "Get out." It's like, what are
No.
you no, no. This is a time where we need to house as many people as we can.
Mhm.
Now, our sweeps, I think sweeps kind of evokes this image of just destroying everybody's stuff. And that's obviously what homeless advocates have accused some public works officials and people that go out there, Caltrans, of doing to their stuff. But what we're seeing right now with this rain and this storm, gather up what you can, get them into a shelter. This is an emergency. It's
Yep.
just like a wildfire. You know what I mean? Imagine instead of rain, it is fire. Get the hell out of here, get into some shelter, and we'll figure it out later. I mean, that's all we can do for these people. And it's really sad. Oh God, my heart goes out to the people that do that.
So
Um,
there were some big problems in, I don't know if you've been following the story about Highway 37
mm-mm.
kind of connecting Marin County to Napa County, Solano County. It's the
Okay.
top of the basically the at the very tippy top of the bay, the
Okay.
freeway that connects one side of the bay to the other, kind of
Right.
like 37 on your end of the bay.
That's what I
Okay.
exactly was thinking of. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Well, our Highway 37 up here in the North Bay is a serious threat. It's surrounded by marshlands. I think like
Oh.
237 maybe is surrounded by marshlands. I don't know. But ours is surrounded by marshlands and it floods and it's
Of course,
been
that's marsh for you.
awful.
Yeah.
And so there are quadrillion-dollar fixes in the works, but they couldn't come soon enough.
Oh,
Highway
no.
37 had to shut down in Novato. They have since reopened it. They reopened it yesterday afternoon. But I mean, it's one of those things where if you have to take 37, you better look before you leave. In the coming days this week, as the rain keeps pelting us, because you
Yeah.
just don't. And it's already, we're already seeing flooding on 37, so it's kind of going to be one of these things where the water will go up and recede and up and recede.
Well, this is a good example of people moving into areas
Mm-hmm.
that they shouldn't be living on. Marshland is needed. It's like a natural sponge, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to help with situations like this. This is where the water goes and then it comes back, but then you want to build on it. And so now all of a sudden it's a problem and it needs a fix. Just kind of a side note, just because whenever you bring up marshes, I always think of the book Where the Crawdads Sing. Did you ever read
Oh,
that book?
yeah,
It's
and
about marsh.
it's a movie now too.
There's a movie of it too, but she's
Yeah.
like the marsh girl. But she talks about in the book, and I didn't see the movie, so I don't know if she really delved into it. But she talks about the marsh and
Yeah.
how it goes in and it's out, and you're supposed to live with it, not against it.
Yeah.
And I know obviously the cat's
Yeah.
out of the bag. There's development all over the place, but the marsh was the fix for flooding. That's where the water's supposed to go, and human beings. We just like to live wherever we like to live, and sometimes that's what's going to happen. And so
Let me
it's sad
show
to
you some
see.
more of these pictures from Highway 37.
Oh, see, yeah, and you can even see like the marsh coming up right there. Is that like little plants and everything coming up? It's like,
So apparently there had a levee break along Novato
oh,
Creek as
jeez.
well.
Oh my goodness.
Right, and yeah, it was a breach in a levee along Novato Creek just south of 37. And so that's kind of another thing that exacerbated the problem.
Wow. I mean, look at that. That's crazy. It's a lot of water we're seeing. And again, it's not going to let up. If you think that we got
Yeah.
through, last night and we're getting through today and it's going to ease up, it's not.
Mhm.
It is supposed to continue to rain. Now, it was funny. I was with my son in the car picking him up from school yesterday, and he was like looking outside in San Jose. I will say,
By the way, those
that's
pictures from them are in IJ, just so you know.
perfect.
Okay.
San Jose is great weather. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Even in this storm, like I was driving him home, there were peaks of blue sky. And it
Yeah.
was hard when he's getting weather alerts on the phone and he's looking outside and he's like, I don't see it. And I'm like, just wait. It's a coming. And we're not the entire Northern California area. There's other parts that are getting just hit so hard. So depending on where you live, you might see more, you might see less, but it's going to be with us for at least another week and a half, at least, maybe 2 weeks. Maybe something like that. January 20 something was a date that I had heard of when it's going to go back. I want to add one more story just because we were talking about the homeless.
Yeah.
Do you remember the GoFundMe homeless scam? So it was a woman and a man, and a woman claimed that a homeless guy had used his last $20 to fill up her tank of gas.
Yes.
Do you remember this story?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so the last person, the woman, Kate McClure, has finally been sentenced. She was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day. She wasn't present because she's serving 1 year and 1 day sentence in federal prison for the scam, along with her boyfriend. So now, if you don't remember this, it was a crazy story. So it started when her boyfriend, the homeless guy, Bobbitt, it was his last name, Johnny Bobbitt Jr. He had come to the rescue of getting her gas off of I-95. That part was true. But they falsely claimed that Bobbitt used his last $20 to pay for his gas and posted a photo of her and her boyfriend together near an exit with a sign paying it forward. Okay. Now, actually, it was a lie. The whole thing was a lie. Text messages show that the couple encountered Bobbitt near the Sugar House Casino. They wanted to help him, so they came up with this scheme. That's what it was. So
it's always booze and gambling. It's always, it all leads back to that, right?
Well, what's funny is like they see this homeless guy. They're like, we want to help you. But the truth of the matter is they didn't want to help this guy. They wanted to help him as long as it helped themselves. So they set up the GoFundMe. They set up a goal of $10,000, but then it took off because they made up the whole gas story, right? 14,000 donors gave $400,000, thinking that not only were they helping a homeless person, but a homeless Marine veteran. Made national headlines. And see, this is the problem. You think that you're just making a tiny story and you forget that things can go viral and it gets out of your control. They bought a camper. The couple bought Bobbitt a camper. He lived for a time on the property the family owns. They also gave Bobbitt about $25,000, but then the couple spent the rest of the money. They went to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Las Vegas, a helicopter tour of the Grand Canyon, gambling excursions, a luxury car, designer handbags, among other things. And then it unraveled when, Bobbitt's looking around and be like, wait a minute. Where's all my money? Accused him of squandering the money. And of course, all the money was gone. So the last person has been sentenced. But yeah, that story just pisses me off. You want to help a guy, help a guy. You don't have to create a whole concoction so that you can get help too. It's ridiculous.
Can we talk about how Mother Nature is spitting crap that we've thrown into the ocean back at us?
Oh, please.
As if to say, you
take that.
I don't want this. You take it back.
Yes,
you polluted me, and here you go. It's bad enough that we're seeing homes inundated with water and flooding,
of course,
right? But now we get, if you look at the beaches in Santa Cruz, let's see if we get this. This is a video posted on Twitter.
Oh, it's a boardwalk.
And you can see all the driftwood that has washed up.
Yeah.
But in between all the driftwood and debris are tires, chunks of plastic, garbage, just stuff. Right?
The ocean's like, you take it back, please.
Things that have been lost in the ocean that the ocean's like, no, thank you. Here it is back on the beach. Put it somewhere else. Right?
Have we heard, just looking at this picture, has any damage been done to the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk from all the winds and everything like that? I wonder.
I haven't heard of anything. I'm sure everything's.
I don't feel like they, and I could be wrong, but I don't think they closed the beach boardwalk, do they? I don't think they ever, I don't think that. Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't go there right now and ride on rides. No, it's just,
but like the boardwalk is open. Like you can be on the boardwalk. Like it's not closed.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, but
I think they lock the gates and that's it.
That's it. But it's a gorgeous area. But that is just going to be a bunch. And can you imagine anytime like the San Lorenzo and all that starts to overflow? You don't want to get in the ocean or anywhere near that for a while, because you're going to end up with like the skivvies all over your skin, because that's disgusting. You know what I mean? Ooh, that is
posted. It was a writer for the San Francisco Chronicle who posted a picture with all this white foam
Yeah,
in the
I saw
newspaper.
that. Blech.
And it was like, it's white foam. You know what that white foam is? According to a family member that I have that works for the Environmental Protection Agency, when
Huh.
you see foam like that in the ocean, that's pollution. It's usually
Yeah.
human waste or some other type of pollution that gets mixed up and the foam gets deposited back on the shore. That's pollution.
Yeah, I used to go to a reggae festival, and so the river obviously flows in one direction, and so you have thousands of people in a river. You want to be upstream because at the end of that stream is the foam that you're talking about.
Yeah, no.
Disgusting. I mean, people would get river rash because you're just in everybody's funk. It's
Yep.
disgusting, so
People are probably peeing in there.
oh,
pooping
we're
in
talking
there.
yeah, no, but we're just talking about human beings. People pee in the water, and then you have thousands of people peeing in the water. It's gross. It's absolutely gross. But yeah, if you're ever at a festival at a river, you want to be upstream. That is my best piece of advice for you. Do not be downstream, even though it's closer to the exit. Just don't do that. Okay, we have about 15 minutes, and thank you to everybody that's tuning in.
Yeah.
This is obviously was pre-recorded because I'm with my daughter today getting an infusion, and I appreciate everybody reaching out. I do want to reiterate, I don't know if we're going to make a poll out of this, Kim McAllister, but I do want to remind people, one, to click the thumbs up, and two, tell me what you think about what I was talking about at the beginning of the show of what I should do for Patreon subscribers versus everybody else.
Okay.
I had a viewer that wrote in, and I think she had a valid point that, we subscribe to your show on YouTube, but maybe we can't or don't want to be a monthly Patreon subscriber, but we still want all the content that you're making for Patreon. So what's the best way to handle it? Is it, tough cookies, become a Patreon subscriber? I don't like that idea. Should I post it on Patreon and then what? After a week or 2 weeks or whatever, post it on my socials and let you guys know that way? Because that's where I'm kind of leaning. But again, I want to hear from my Patreon subscribers. Do you like having this exclusivity? Because on the other hand, I want to give my Patreon subscribers a little something, right? So let me know. You can email me, of course, at theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. There's another way to donate to our show and put some money in our pockets. TheNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. You can PayPal us some money there. And of course, another huge way that you could support the show is by supporting our exclusive founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz.
Yeah.
Give Steve a call, 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com, 888-TAX-DEAL, MoskowitzLLP.com.
That's a double whammy because not only are you supporting him for being a founding sponsor and getting the help you need, but when you support him, you're also supporting us.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and if you call him, can you let us know that you listen to the Nikki Medoro Show?
yeah. Tell him we sent you.
Tell him we sent you. That's what you're supposed to say. Okay, so I have two stories that kind of go together. One is politics and one is celebrity, but it has to kind of do with who's in and who's out. So
I have a politics too. Can I throw it in and after you?
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I wanted to talk about Aaron Peskin being elected to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors as their president. Okay, so it took not one, not two, but 17 votes to make Aaron Peskin the president of the Board of Supervisors, with Peskin needing to vote for himself to break, I guess, the tie or the 6-vote threshold or whatever was needed to become Board of Supervisors president. Kim, what do you think it is here? Why it took 17 votes? And I'm assuming it's politics and personality. I feel like it always comes down to that.
Yep.
Right? I mean, there can't be anything. And of course, there's the experience that Peskin has. So before he nominated himself for the post, the board had been locked in a 5-4-2 split. It was Peskin, Ronan, Safai, Preston, and Walton supporting Walton. And then Mandelman, Dorsey, and Cardillo, and Stefani were supporting Mendelman. Okay. And then Chan and Melgar were supporting Chan. 12, they stayed locked for 12 rounds of voting. And then finally Peskin nominated himself. Yeah. And then he broke the tie. He didn't want to.
So that's a surprise. I mean, he wasn't even in the running, right? Well, when they started this whole thing, he wasn't even supposed to be anywhere near the president of the Board of Supervisors, and now look at him. And
but he has a lot of experience.
Role. He has a lot of experience. He's been on the board, probably one of the longest current sitting members. But that's a position that has a lot of power. It works directly with the mayor,
right?
So that's a big deal for him.
Yeah, so the SF Gate wrote, it's largely ceremonial, but the person is next in line to the mayor and has influence over what legislation moves through that body, which is huge. And it echoes what we saw with Kevin McCarthy and House Speaker. They eroded that position so much that I don't think Kevin McCarthy has any of the power that he used to have. And that is going to be largely ceremonial because he will have to bend over to the rules committee and to the appropriations committee and everybody else who's going to just with a smile on their face. So that's not going to be comfortable. And it's not, it'll be fun to see, but you know what I'm saying. It's
so, yeah, that's some interesting San Francisco city politics. But since you brought up Mr. McCarthy, let's talk about him because House Republicans, after this whole fiasco where they had to vote and vote and vote, they are adopting a rules package after that historic speaker vote. It passed along party lines in a 220 to 213 vote, and it will now govern how the chamber operates for the next 2 years. Monday's vote related to the concessions that Kevin McCarthy had to make to very conservative lawmakers who were opposed to his candidacy. Some critics argue he gave up too much of the speaker's power to these hardline Republicans. Others say these rule changes were long overdue. So,
did
you know what they did?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, did you see him when he finally was named the speaker? As if the job that he's been itching to have is the same job he's going to have. It's not, because just what you said, the rules are changing. They have like gutted the position.
Yeah. Well, I was going to tell you one of the first things. What was the first thing Republicans were saying when they took control of the House they were going to do?
Oh, are you kidding me right now?
I kid you not. Here we go again, right? Several reports say the Justice Department is reviewing classified documents from President Biden's time as vice president found at a Biden think tank. The National Archives referring the matter to the Justice Department for investigation, but CBS News says the FBI is now also involved after these documents reportedly turned up at the Penn Biden Center. And this is after, of course, former President Trump gets in hot water after several classified White House documents were recently found at Mar-a-Lago. So, I mean, it feels like tit for tat. I don't know if it is, or if somebody put them there, or if it's legitimate. I don't know.
You know what? Investigate it. Fine. Waste your freaking time if you want to do it. If you find something good, let me know. If President Biden did something wrong, fine, dole out a punishment. See, that's the difference between people that aren't beholden to Donald Trump's behind and normal Americans, is if people do something wrong, whether it's the president of the United States or your neighbor across the street, they should be held accountable. So do your stupid investigation, but don't, if it comes out that there's nothing there, then also admit that. And I know I can already hear people saying, what about Russian collusion? Go back to what that report really said, and underlined was you could not indict a sitting president. There were so many other things that should have come out. Now, do I wish more of it would have come out? Do I doubt that former President Trump was at the very least very suspicious? He was. But if President Biden did something as vice president that he wasn't supposed to do, call him out. Knock yourself out. There you go.
I will say, though, in my mind, there's a difference, and I don't even know if it's true or if it's not true or if it's manufactured, what have you. We're at the beginning of all this, but there's a difference to me between documents that may or may not be, that will likely be not top secret at a think tank versus top drawer secret documents in a storage closet next to the kitchen at Mar-a-Lago and in a storage container and over here at this other place and spread around like willy-nilly where people could have access. I don't know. There's a difference to me, but
do we know what kind of documents these are? Did they say? I'm sorry. Did you say what kind of documents? Are they national security secrets like Donald Trump is accused of having?
I didn't say what type of documents.
Or is it just like, my appointments from the time I was vice president? There's a difference when we're talking about official documents. What's actually
they did say that the Justice Department is reviewing classified documents.
Okay, well that's something.
So classified is different than top secret, but still not from our eyes, right? We can't look at those. So yeah.
I mean, it's very, very interesting to see. But again, you guys should be, you conservatives out there should be supporting what I'm saying. Fine. Investigate. I have no problem. I am not going to say it's a witch hunt. It's just a witch hunt. I'm not a child like the former president. Okay. Let's end real quick. I have time for this. Okay. So Kim McAllister tells me that fabulous producer John Daly, who is no longer with the Mark Thompson Show, but greatly missed, had come forward to Kim and he's like, this is a story that is made for the Nikki Medoro Show. And it's made because I like crap TV. And John knows this about me. So anybody that knows me knows that I watch. Although I will say this, Kim, I've begun to pull back. I did not watch the last season of The Bachelor because I find it really boring. But then I'm asking myself, is the reason you don't like The Bachelor anymore because Chris Harrison is no longer the host? And between you, me, and everybody that watches the show, I think so. Okay. Now, if you remember, Chris Harrison was the host of the most dramatic season ever of The Bachelor, Bachelorette, which he always said. But he had to leave in 2021. Now, this was because he responded to one of the front runners of The Bachelor had gone to a party, an antebellum themed party in college in 2028. It wasn't a good look. And so he was being asked by Rachel Lindsay, who was the first Black Bachelorette, about it. And he did not respond well. He said something to the effect of, was it not good in 2021 or was it really not good in 2028? Kind of saying there's a difference. Quote, well, Rachel, is it a good look in 2028 or is it not a good look in 2021? Because there's a big difference. And Rachel Lindsay says, it's not a good look ever. They tried to, get out of it, right? Because Chris Harrison was the face of The Bachelor. And I will say, arguably, you guys can disagree if you watch the crap show. Way better than any of the other nonsense that goes on.
Oh, you're in work. I'm so sorry.
Hi, Jacob. But here he is. I had pulled some sound. He's doing a podcast now. And I want you to hear this. So first off, he talks about how he felt when the news came out.
I was heartbroken.
Heartbroken.
I was gutted. I was embarrassed. I was mad at myself. I was disappointed in myself. The last thing in the world I ever wanted to do was be an agent of anything negative, whether it had to do with race or anything. The fact that I was involved in this and that I had a big part in this, and I do own that, there were many things out of my control and things definitely spun out of control for a number of reasons. But for my part in this, I was sick to my stomach. And I lost 20 pounds.
So he lost 20 pounds, which is saying something. One more quick clip, because I know we're running out of time and this could only be an hour. Listen to what he says. And I kind of feel like this is a threat. Are you ready? Here you go.
I think I needed time. I need time to figure out what I want to say, how I felt. To go back to the infamous interview, one point that I was trying to make and did not make eloquently was people need time to think. You need time to process.
True.
We must have grace and patience for people to think and process, or else you're just getting this kind of nonsensical reactive emotion from people. And so I wanted to step away. I wanted to think and learn and change and go through everything I went through personally before I had this talk. And I have let everybody else speak. And I have sat back and listened to everybody speak. And look, I'm sure there are a lot of people, well, a few people that are sitting in Hollywood right now, nervous as hell that I am doing a podcast. And I guess I would say to those people, if you're nervous, maybe you should be.
Oh, yeah. So, Chris Harrison, I don't think we've heard the last of him. That is his podcast. I do need to end the show. I thank everybody. This is recorded and it kind of cuts us off at an hour.
So that's why I kind of have. I still have so much to say. Like I'm not done. What is happening?
I will be back. Kim will be back on Wednesday. Please click that thumbs up. I can get Chris Harrison's mug
get rid
off.
Of Chris.
There we go. Okay, so click the thumbs up. We
Can
really
I show you
appreciate
something
it.
as we leave? One more picture.
5 seconds. Oh, what is that?
That's a lightning strike in Berkeley on
Ooh.
January 6th. It was caught on the live cam at the top of the Campanile. Boom.
Nice.
Landfall.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. That's a great way to end the show. Stay dry. Stay safe. Kim, I will talk to you. I love you. I adore all of you. Let me know about the Patreon poll. We'll talk again on Wednesday. Bye-bye.